Let's talk to Jason. He says hello. Jay, good afternoon. How are you today, pal? Okay?
Very well, Chris. How are you?
Fine, Jason. Thank you, pal. What's on your mind now? Far away.
2 points about the draft. You are 1,000% right about the Browns. They should take Barkley at 1. Everything I'm reading about my Giants is they like Chubb because of the 3-4. They could use him on the outside. They'll take Chubb at 2. The Jets will take a quarterback at 3. 3 of those quarterbacks at a minimum are going to be sitting there at 4.
Well, the one thing I would say about that, the one thing I'd be fair about, Jay, is the Giants, if Barkley is not there, they could trade out of that 2 spot to get extra picks and have a team that needs a quarterback, read the Bills, move up. That is possible.
They could. I don't think they're going to do that because of everything I've been reading about Chubb, and I think if they trade with the Bills at Chubb, he's not going to be there, and then they're stuck with Nelson, the guard, who's good. But I think they are going to do that. Even worst case scenario, if the Bills trade down, 2 of those guys are left, and the Browns can get 2 of them. They're getting Barkley, who people are saying is like Gale Sayers, and 2 of those guys are still going to be there at 4. To me, it's a no-brainer.
No-brainer.
You can't differentiate them. Whether it's Allen with the accuracy, Rosen because of the durability, Mayfield because of the size, or Darnold because of the athleticism, unless they're hard set on one of these guys, I think they're foolish not to take Barkley at 1. And if I could.
Yeah, well, we'll let you continue. Let's quickly run down the quarterbacks. Mayfield comes out of the Big 12. The Big 12 is historically horrendous producing these quarterbacks. Yep. And he had a bad overtime and second half against Georgia when he needed a quarterback to make a huge play against a decent defense and he could do nothing. And he's small. That's the negative on Mayfield. Darnold had a bad year, who turns the ball over a lot, especially with fumbles. And he's got great size and all, but he was not good against Ohio State, and he had a spotty year. Rosen's had 1 million concussions. The coach and him have an issue. He's got a lot to say, and the team only goes 6-5 every year. And Allen plays in a place that nobody's seen him in it with never a big game. Never, ever did Josh Allen play a game that he had to win at the University of Wyoming, and he completed 56% of his passes. Now, why would you take one of those 4 guys over a guy at running back, as you said, Jay, who might be Gale Sayers? Why would you do that? It makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense. I think if he's there at 2, there's no doubt in my mind the Giants are going to take him. Plus, they need a little character infusion because of Beckham. I think him and Eli will get along well. What you were saying a few weeks ago, Chris, I forget the game. He didn't have to play in that game at the end of the year.
That was the Washington game in the Fiesta Bowl. He had nothing to play for, and he insisted that he play. He didn't have to because his draft stock was really on the come. He didn't want to get injured. It meant nothing to the team, and he insisted on playing. That to me was a very positive sign. Go ahead.
I agree. He did, and the Giants could use a character guy after Beckham shenanigans. If he's there, there's no doubt the Giants are going to take him. But the Browns, they should absolutely take Barkley. I mean, these quarterbacks, nobody's saying anything good about him. When I'm reading, they're all saying, well, they're kind of ho-hum.
It would concern me. Peyton wasn't a big fan of him, that's for sure. Mike in Orange County, California, Mad Dog Unleashed. Mike, your turn. How are you today? What do you have for me? You there, Michael? Michael's not there. So let's. Why don't we, Eddie? Why don't we move on from Mike? Ed, that would. Roman in Albany, New York, and he's with us here on Mad Dog Unleashed. Roman, welcome. Your turn. How are you today? What do you have for me?
Hey, Mad Dog. I love your show. First time caller. I've only been listening for about 6 months.
Good to have you aboard, Roman. What took you so long? How are you today, buddy? What do you have for me?
I know. Well, first of all, I'm only a college student, so that's why it's taken me so long. Also, I'm a huge Giants fan, and you know what? I think that with the number 2 pick, if Darnold is there, I think we should take Darnold. I don't have a problem with them taking Barkley, but I think this is the time when the Giants should look for Eli's replacement.
Well, again, Roman, I understand that, and it makes sense. I think there's 2 or 3 things that indicate to me that the Giants aren't going to take a quarterback at that pick. One, Gettleman, 65 years of age, and he said really all winter that when you make that selection this high in the draft, you have to envision yourself, or you have to envision the pick being a guy who wears a Hall of Fame jacket. That's what he said. That's a quote. Number 2, Ernie Accorsi, who's Gettleman's best buddy. Ernie said on more than one occasion this offseason, recently about a week ago, that he thinks Eli's got at least 2 years of football left in him. Gettleman has gone on record, the general manager, saying that Eli played great in the Eagle game, and it looked to him late in the year that Eli had plenty left in the tank as far as playing the position is concerned. That does not strike me as a guy or a franchise that is thinking about drafting a quarterback and let him sit there for 2 or 3 years before Eli decides to retire. Remember, the Giants learned a painful lesson last year about Eli. He is going to go out kicking and screaming. Okay, Eli is not going to. He's not going to quietly step aside and let somebody take the spot. We noticed that last year, and he went nuts because, in fact, they decided not to let him finish the game against the Raiders, and he got all bent out of shape after he made everybody think that he wouldn't have a problem with it. Came back to work the next day. This is stupid. If I'm playing great in the first half, I should continue. So I just don't think the Giants are taking a quarterback at that spot. If Barkley, I think the argument you can make about the Giants, woman, good call. The argument you can make about the Giants, I don't know where they think of Chubb. I don't know if they think Chubb is as good as Barkley. If they do think that, they'll probably take Chubb instead with that second pick. I don't know if the Giants feel that way about Chubb. If they don't feel that way about Chubb and Barkley goes to 1, they will trade down to get extra picks and maybe trade up a little later in the draft to draft that guard from Notre Dame. That's what I think they're going to do. Not that I know, but that's what I think. 8 in front of the hour. Continuing on Mad Dog Unleashed.